The sound of her laughter echoed through the cabin as snowflakes danced against the windows. James never imagined his ice queen of a boss could smile like that, especially not at him. But as he watched her cradling his sleeping daughter by the fireplace, something shifted inside him. This wasn't the woman who had made his life hell for the past 3 years. This was someone else entirely. And by morning, nothing between them would ever be the same again. If you're enjoying this story of unexpected connection and second chances, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more heartwarming content that reminds us how life's biggest storms often bring the most beautiful surprises. James Parker checked his watch for the 5th time in 10 minutes, his stomach nodding with anxiety. The quarterly presentation was in less than an hour, and he still needed to drop Emma at his neighbor's apartment. The babysitter had cancelled last minute, again, and his 6-year-old daughter was currently sitting in the break room of Horizon Marketing, coloring quietly while he frantically prepared his notes. "Daddy, I'm hungry," Emma said, not looking up from her drawing. "Just a little longer, sweetheart. I promise we'll get you something soon." James ran his hand through his disheveled hair, trying to ignore the sympathetic glances from his co-workers. Being a single dad in corporate America wasn't just difficult, some days it felt impossible. The conference room door swung open, and Victoria Winters emerged, her tailored suit as impeccable as her reputation for ruthless efficiency. As the newly appointed Chief Marketing Officer, she had transformed the department in just 3 months, mostly through fear and intimidation. "Parker, where's the North Star proposal? The meeting starts in 45 minutes. Her voice was cool and measured, but her eyes narrowed when she spotted Emma in the corner. James felt his chest tighten. "It's ready, Ms. Winters. I'm just finalizing." "Is that a child in my break room?" Victoria's perfectly arched eyebrow rose even higher. "My daughter. The babysitter cancelled, and I'm trying to find a solution. My neighbor should be home soon too. This is a workplace, not a daycare center." Victoria's gaze shifted to Emma, who had stopped coloring to stare at the intimidating woman. "The North Star account is worth millions. I need your full attention today." "I understand. It won't affect my performance, I promise." James tried to keep the desperation from his voice. This presentation could mean a promotion, one he desperately needed to move them out of their cramped apartment and into a neighborhood with better schools for Emma. Victoria checked her watch. "My office. 5 minutes. And find somewhere appropriate for your child." As she walked away, James heard the whispers from his colleagues. Victoria's nickname around the office was Ice Queen, and moments like this only reinforced it. At 38, she had climbed to the executive level through sheer determination and an uncompromising work ethic. Rumor had it she'd never taken a sick day in her 15 years with the company. James's phone buzzed with a text from his neighbor, stuck in traffic due to snowstorm warning. "Can't make it for at least 2 hours. Sorry." He looked out the window and noticed the snow had indeed started falling more heavily. The weather report that morning had mentioned a possible storm, but nothing severe enough to worry about. Now, fat flakes were swirling against the glass, and the sky had darkened ominously. "Daddy, is that lady mad at you because of me?" Emma's small voice broke through his panic. James knelt beside his daughter, brushing a strand of hair from her face. She looked so much like her mother it sometimes took his breath away. "No, sweetheart. She's just very focused on work. Like how you get when you're building your Lego castles." Emma considered this. "She doesn't smile much." "Some people forget how," James said, then immediately regretted it. "Come on, let's pack up your things. You might need to sit quietly in the back of the conference room for a bit." When James entered Victoria's office with Emma trailing behind him, he braced himself for the inevitable confrontation. Victoria was standing by the window, watching the snow with a frown. "Ms. Winters, I apologize, but my backup childcare can't make it because of the storm. I'll keep her quiet during the presentation, and she has her tablet and." "The meeting's been cancelled," Victoria interrupted, turning to face him. The North Star executives couldn't make it through the snow. The airport's shut down, and the highways are closing. Relief flooded through James, followed immediately by concern. How bad is it getting out there? Bad enough that they're advising everyone to leave now or prepare to stay put. Victoria's eyes flicked to Emma, who was examining the small crystal sculpture on Victoria's desk with fascination. Don't touch that, please. Emma immediately pulled her hand back, her eyes wide. We should go, James said, taking Emma's hand. Thank you for letting me know about the meeting. Victoria nodded curtly, already turning her attention to her computer. The presentation is rescheduled for Monday. I expect perfection. As James hurried to his desk to gather his things, the office was already half empty, with colleagues rushing to beat the worsening conditions. He bundled Emma into her coat and grabbed his laptop, mentally calculating the fastest route home. By the time they reached the parking garage, the snow was falling in thick, heavy sheets. James strapped Emma into her booster seat and started the car, the windshield wipers struggling against the accumulation. Is this a snow day now, Daddy? Emma asked, her face pressed against the window in wonder. Looks like it, James replied, trying to sound cheerful despite his growing unease. The traffic was already at a standstill on the street outside the garage. They had moved less than a mile in 30 minutes when James's phone rang. The caller ID showed Victoria Winters, and he answered with trepidation. Parker, where are you? Her voice was tense. Still trying to get out of downtown. The traffic's barely moving. Turn around. The highway's closed completely, there's been a multi-car pileup. The news is saying anyone still on the road should find shelter immediately. James looked at the sea of red brake lights ahead and the increasingly treacherous conditions. I don't think I can make it back to the office. There was a pause. My condo is 3 blocks from where you are now. The building has emergency generators if the power goes out. Another pause. You and your daughter can wait out the storm there. James was so surprised he almost missed his next words. I'm sending you the address. The doorman will let you in. She hung up before he could respond. 20 minutes later, James and Emma stood in the lobby of one of the most exclusive residential buildings in the city. The doorman, who introduced himself as Frank, seemed unsurprised by their arrival. Ms. Winters called down. Take the private elevator to the penthouse. He handed James a key card. She's on her way. Got caught in a meeting that ran long. The penthouse was exactly what James would have expected from Victoria Winters, minimalist, elegant, and impeccably organized. Floor-to-ceiling windows showcased the snowstorm that was now enveloping the city in white. Under different circumstances, the view would have been breathtaking. Wow, Emma whispered, her eyes wide as she took in the spacious living room with its modern furniture and abstract art. Does a princess live here? James smiled despite his discomfort. No, sweetheart. Just Ms. Winters. The lady who doesn't smile? That's the one. And remember, we're guests here, so we need to be very careful not to touch anything or make a mess. Emma nodded solemnly, clutching her backpack to her chest as if afraid even that might disturb something. James's phone buzzed with a text from Victoria. Stuck in traffic. Make yourselves comfortable. Food in fridge. Might be a while. He led Emma to the kitchen, which was all gleaming stainless steel and marble countertops. The refrigerator contained precisely arranged containers of what appeared to be meal-prepped lunches and dinners, along with a selection of fresh fruits and vegetables. Are you hungry? James asked, opening a container that held what looked like grilled chicken and roasted vegetables. Emma peered into the refrigerator. Do you think she has any mac and cheese? James doubted Victoria Winters had ever eaten mac and cheese in her life, but he searched the pantry anyway and was surprised to find a box of organic pasta and a variety of cheeses in the refrigerator. How about I make you some, he offered, grateful for something to do. As he prepared the simple meal, James couldn't help but feel like an intruder in Victoria's pristine space. Everything about the condo spoke of a carefully controlled life. There were no personal photos, no clutter, nothing out of place. It was beautiful but sterile, like a high-end hotel suite rather than a home. Emma sat at the kitchen island, swinging her legs as she watched him cook. "Daddy, why doesn't Ms. Winters have any toys?" "Grown-ups don't usually have toys, Em. But she doesn't have any pictures or messy stuff either." "Is she lonely?" The question caught James off guard. "I don't know, sweetheart. Some people just like things to be very neat and organized. Like when you clean up really fast when Grandma is coming over?" James laughed. "Something like that." They were just finishing their meal when they heard the front door open. Victoria appeared in the kitchen doorway, her normally perfect appearance slightly disheveled from battling the elements. Snowflakes clung to her dark hair, and her cheeks were flushed from the cold. "I see you found the kitchen," she said, her eyes taking in the pot on the stove and the plates on the counter. James stood up quickly. "Yes, thank you. I hope you don't mind, Emma was hungry, and I found some pasta." "It's fine." Victoria removed her coat and hung it carefully on a hook by the door. "The storm is getting worse. They've declared a state of emergency. No one's allowed on the roads now except emergency vehicles." The implications of this statement hung in the air between them. They were going to be stuck here, together, overnight. "I'm sorry for the inconvenience," James began, but Victoria waved him off. "It's not your fault. Or mine. It's just weather." She glanced at Emma, who was watching her with undisguised curiosity. "There's a guest room down the hall. You and your daughter can stay there." "Thank you. That's very generous." Victoria nodded stiffly. "I have work to do. Make yourselves comfortable." As she turned to leave, Emma's voice piped up. "Do you want some mac and cheese? Daddy made extra." Victoria paused, looking genuinely surprised by the offer. No, thank you. I don't eat pasta." "Is that why you're so skinny?" Emma asked innocently. "Emma," James admonished, mortified. To his shock, the corner of Victoria's mouth twitched slightly. "Probably," she replied, before disappearing down the hallway. James quickly cleaned up the kitchen, making sure to leave it exactly as they had found it. He then led Emma to the guest room, which was as elegantly appointed as the rest of the condo, with a king-sized bed and an ensuite bathroom. "Can I watch TV?" Emma asked, eyeing the large flat screen on the wall. "Let's get you bathed and into pajamas first," James said, grateful he'd packed Emma's overnight bag in the car as a precaution when the babysitter had cancelled. After Emma was clean and dressed in her favorite unicorn pajamas, James let her watch a cartoon while he took a quick shower himself. He had nothing to change into, so he put his work clothes back on, minus the tie and jacket. When he emerged from the bathroom, he found the guest room empty. Panic seized him until he heard Emma's voice from somewhere in the condo, followed by an unexpected sound, Victoria's voice, not sharp or commanding, but softer somehow. He followed the voices to what appeared to be a home office. Victoria was seated at a desk, her laptop open, while Emma stood beside her, pointing at something on the screen. "And that's Princess Sparklehorn. She's the leader because she has the biggest horn and the kindest heart," Emma was explaining. "I see," Victoria replied, her tone serious as if she were receiving an important business briefing. "And the blue one? That's Sir Gallops a lot. He's brave but sometimes he gets scared of thunderstorms, so Princess Sparklehorn has to help him be brave." James cleared his throat, and both females looked up. "Emma, you shouldn't be bothering Ms. Winters while she's working," he said. "She's not bothering me," Victoria said, surprising him. She was just explaining the hierarchy of unicorn society. Emma beamed. "Ms. Winters said I could show her my favorite show because she's never seen it before." Can you believe that, Daddy? I'm sure Ms. Winters has different shows she likes to watch, James said diplomatically. Actually, I don't watch much television, Victoria admitted. I usually work in the evenings. Every evening? Emma asked, her face scrunched in confusion. Most evenings, yes. But when do you play? Victoria looked genuinely perplexed by the question. I exercise. And read. Emma seemed to consider this inadequate. Do you want to play unicorns with me? I have extra ones in my backpack. Before James could intervene, the lights flickered once, twice, and then went out completely. Emma gasped, and James immediately moved toward her in the darkness. It's okay, sweetheart. Just the storm affecting the power. A moment later, emergency lights came on, casting a soft glow throughout the condo. The building has generators, Victoria explained, rising from her desk. But they only power essential systems, emergency lighting, refrigeration, and heat. We should conserve battery power on our devices. She moved with surprising efficiency in the dim light, retrieving candles and matches from a drawer. There's a fireplace in the living room. It might be more comfortable there. They followed her to the living room, where she knelt to light the gas fireplace. The flames cast a warm, flickering light across the room, transforming the austere space into something almost cozy. Emma, recovering quickly from the initial fright of the blackout, ran to get her backpack. She returned with an assortment of small plastic unicorns, which she arranged carefully on the coffee table. This one can be yours, she said, holding out a silver unicorn to Victoria. She's the vice president of the unicorns. Vice president? Victoria repeated, accepting the toy with evident uncertainty about what to do with it. She makes sure all the other unicorns do their jobs right. Like you do with Daddy. James felt his face grow warm. Emma, I'm sure Ms. Winters doesn't want to play right now. It's Victoria, she said suddenly. Under the circumstances, you might as well call me Victoria. The formality between them had always been a barrier, one that James had never dared to cross. Hearing her offer her first name felt strangely intimate. James, he replied with a nod. Victoria sat on the edge of the sofa, the silver unicorn still in her hand. I suppose I could play for a few minutes. I can't do much work without power anyway. Emma's face lit up, and she immediately launched into an elaborate scenario involving a unicorn festival threatened by a storm cloud monster. To James's amazement, Victoria participated, moving her unicorn as directed and even adding a few suggestions to the narrative. As the evening progressed, something remarkable happened. The rigid lines of Victoria's posture gradually softened. She kicked off her heels and tucked her feet beneath her on the sofa. When Emma declared it was time for the unicorns to have a dance party, Victoria actually smiled, a real smile that transformed her face completely. James found himself staring. He'd worked under her for 3 months and had never seen her like this. The Ice Queen was melting before his eyes, and the woman emerging was beautiful. When Emma began to yawn, James checked his watch. Time for bed, Em. But we're having fun, she protested, even as her eyelids drooped. The unicorns need their rest too, Victoria said. They have a big day tomorrow, rebuilding after the storm cloud monster. Emma considered this. Okay, but can we play more tomorrow? If we're still here, yes, Victoria promised. James carried his drowsy daughter to the guest room and tucked her in. Daddy, Emma whispered as he kissed her forehead, I think we made Ms. Victoria happy. She was smiling. I think you're right, James agreed. You have that effect on people. She's not scary when she smiles. No, she's not. When Emma was asleep, James returned to the living room to find Victoria standing by the window, watching.